All right, so Clemson gets knocked off, um, 34-21. Just want to talk about what I saw, and that kind of stuff. And I think it's really time that Clemson blows it up. I think it's over. I think it's time to move on from Dabo Sweeney. And that's hard to say, but I just don't see it getting any better after this year. I think the best thing for Clemson is to just blow it up and go get a new coaching staff and some new guys who know what they're doing. Because he can brag about winning in the past. Like, Dabo Sweeney sounds like these Georgia fans or the Bama fans. It's like you can talk about the past all you want, but what about the present? And what about the future? Because I talk about the present right now. K Club looks horrible. Their offense looks horrible. Garrett Wright does not look like an elite offensive mind. Their defense looks not all that. I feel like it like did even like a damn waiting to break and it finally broke versus Syracuse. And I want to say this too, not impressed with Peter Wood or T.J. Parker. Both guys to me have been hold on. Both guys, it's like okay, there we go. Both guys to me have been unimpressive. They have not impressed me. T.J. Parker and Peter Woods do not look like first round picks to me. They just don't take games over. They don't have dominant games. And the one thing to me that's been consistent these last 2 years with TJ Parker and Peter Woods is teams have no problem running at them. Especially I look at a guy like Peter Woods on the inside, that should be an issue. There's no excuse for teams to feel comfortable running the ball at you as a big interior tackle. Same thing for TJ Parker. But especially the interior lineman, teams should not feel comfortable running the ball at you. That's all people do versus Clemson is run the ball versus T.J. Parker and Peter Woods. That's all Georgia Tech did was run the ball versus Peter Woods and T.J. Parker. So that's why I'm not impressed with them. They don't look like two first round picks to me. They just don't. They're not dominant. All the issues, a lot of the problems they're having are because their best players aren't being their best players. K. Club, Nick, T.J. Moore, Peter Woods, and T.J. Parker have all let me down. They have not been impressive. The only two people I think are impressive were Sammy Brown, Will Height, Bryant Wesco are the guys that me that are popping. Other than that, those other guys aren't popping. I wouldn't have Peter Woods and T.J. Parker in the first round right now, just because I don't see first round level play on the field. Now, can they be studs in the NFL? Sure, but how can you like? I just don't see it on the field. They're not dominant in the game. So if you're not dominant, right? Like, why would I draft? And then when teams feel like they can run at you, why would I definitely don't want to draft the NFL? Because people are just gonna run at you, and they're gonna maul you in the run game. You can't stop the run, and that's not you got to win the NFL not being able to stop the run. So and you're not even taking games over. Like T.J. Parker and Peter Wilson to me are very much overhyped, and it's showing on the field right now. So I think that's where it's at with that. And like I said, I think it's time to blow it up with Sweeney. It's over. Same thing with Gundy. When you don't want to adapt, you're gonna die. There's a reason why dinosaurs on the earth anymore. I keep, and I'm not really having to say all these coaches getting fired, but he waited too long to go to the portal and now he's seeing the effects of that because his roster isn't as good as it should be. Clemson's roster isn't as dominant as it has been in the past. And you wait too long to go to the portal to fix holes. You make horrible hires on the coaching staff. Wes Goodwin was a horrible in-house hire. Garrett Riley was a horrible hire. I keep talking about coordinator hires. Those are horrible hires. I thought Tom Allen was a good hire, and I feel like his dam is broke, especially when his best players aren't playing like his best players. But Garrett Riley stinks. So the offense is horrible. Um, I think who's like the coach at Virginia? I forget his name. They're missing him on offense. Obviously, the offense has not been the same since he left. It's been horrible, and there's no excuse for it because Club Nick and the talent is there with Clemson. It's just coaching at this point, offensively. So I think horrible hires on top of not wanting to go to the portal, not really embracing the whole NIL thing. You could tell by Clemson for how dominant Clemson's been all these years. The recruiting classes have been good these last couple years, but honestly, when you don't embrace NIL, you're not going to have these top classes. A lot of schools you wouldn't think have passed, really have out recruited Clemson or gotten more than for as much as Desi brags about winning. You would think his roster is more loaded, but he hasn't. He hasn't embraced the whole NIL thing completely. I don't think so. You can just look at his recruiting classes. For as dominant a program as they've been, they're not recruiting like it. And same thing in the portal. He definitely hasn't embraced NIL in the portal, and that shows on the roster with the deficit of holes that they have. I think they need to blow it up, man. Let it like just Klubnik go transfer out. I don't have a draft to work on Klubnik right now. Ryan Lesko, transfer out. TJ Moore transfer out and go somewhere else where you can be developed. And be better. The best, like I said, the only one that's really impressed me on offense has been Wesco. And on top of that, too, then what's even worse is you take Adam Randall. So that's how bad they're inside the portal. You take Adam Randall, make him a running back, a receiver. You make a wide receiver a running back. That is horrible and horrendous of you to do. And you recruit no running backs in high school or on a portal that you feel like you can play for you. That's just dumb. I don't even know what's going on. This is like high school. That's something you do in high school. Or move a receiver to running back. You don't do that at Clemson, the standard at that university. You don't do it. You shouldn't be doing that because you're so stubborn and arrogant. You don't want to go to the portal. This is what you get. If I'm Clemson, I'm blowing it up and kicking that. I'm showing him the door, flat out. You don't want to adapt to college football, just like Gundy. Then get out and go coach somewhere else. He's not a good coach. He doesn't make good hires. He doesn't know how to build an elite roster anymore because he doesn't want to embrace an IL. He doesn't want to use a portal. Go get somebody that will. Because I tell you right now, when they do, they'll win. Simple as that. Well, that's my thoughts on Clemson. It's horrible and they need to blow it up. When it comes to Syracuse, monumental win. Fran Brown's one of the best coaches in America. What a job he's doing. I think people need to expect Syracuse to be, in the next couple of years, they're going to start becoming a perennial top 10 team in America. If I'm a team looking for a head coach, I'm looking at Fran Brown. That guy's legit. Now, he said he'd be there for a decade. That's what he said in his press conference. So his kids could all grow up and that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you right now, this dude's one of the best coaches in America because the job he's doing at Syracuse is phenomenal. And he's doing it without having the big high school guys. And he's starting to get some of those guys now. But doing it the big high school guys is impressive. And he's been phenomenal. But he needs credit, and he needs. And if I'm at school like Florida, maybe an Ole Miss, and some of these schools in Oklahoma, some of these schools that may be looking for new coaches are already UCLA. If Fran Brown got to UCLA, he'd set that thing on fire. But any school, if I was a school, I feel like, hey, I'm going after Fran Brown because this dude's doing an amazing job. And he's turned the whole program around. Syracuse has a guy I think could be a Hall of Fame head coach one day, and probably will be. What he's doing at Syracuse is pretty special. They got a special coach in him. This is a phenomenal job. And his offense is like people talk about it. What's the name? I keep forgetting everybody's name. But Kyle McCord, everybody threw him to the side. You ain't nothing. Then he went over there and set records, conference records, school records, all that kind of stuff at Syracuse. But Angeli, even I questioned Angeli, especially after they had that close win where I forgot who it was and they were running laps back and forth. Then Angeli comes in, sets Clemson on fire, and then you look up and he already has 1,000 yards of passing. He's setting people on fire, So he was getting ready to have a Kyle McCord like season. So it's just look, and I talk about great hires. He hired a good offensive coordinator, somebody understand what he wanted. He understand what he wanted to do, be offensively, and he hired somebody that could do that at a high level, and do it with not the highest level of talent all the time, and understanding that. And then doing what you do, just like NCAA, you start winning, you start recruiting higher level players, and that's when it's really gonna get scary. As I say, in a couple of years, when they start stacking some of these recruiting classes, they're gonna be a perennial top 10 team in America. And watch out for Syracuse. But if I'm somebody looking for a coach, I'm gonna pluck Fran Brown right now because the guy's gonna be a Hall of Fame head coach. That's the pace he's on. He's legit. He's one of the best in the business. To do what he just did with Clemson is ridiculous. So yeah, I think Syracuse deserves a lot of respect, and he needs a lot of credit because he did a phenomenal job coaching. The dude is legit at his job. But yeah, I think if I'm Clemson, I'm blowing it up. And for Syracuse, I think they've done an amazing job, top to bottom with this hire, and he's done an amazing job keeping the roster at a high level. So